Hi, Collective. Okay, you guys, for the third week of March, I pulled out a reading using oracle cards. I've done an oracle reading for you guys this week. This is unlike anything I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure that this is about a very sacred contract. I don't like to use the word twin flame. I think there's too many spiritual bypassing and negative connotations and unhealthy patterns associated with that title. So this is more like a soul contract, a sacred contract. And you and this person are mirroring each other like nothing I've ever seen. I find it ironic because I think that this is like a Black Moon Lilith activation for you guys. Your Black Moon and Lilith placement in your natal chart speaks to your shadow side, your sexual side, untapped hidden potential. But one of the things that the Black Moon and Lilith placement talks about is whatever your placement is, you will often come across a few people, or if not one person in your lifetime that will trigger it, and they're often the same zodiac sign that your Black Moon and Lilith is, but not always. They won't be the exact same sign, but they will display a lot of the characteristics of that sign. They're meant to trigger your Black Moon and Lilith. They're meant to tug on your shadow side to get you to work with it. This looks like a pretty intense connection here between you and this person. And I know you're not talking to each other, and you're not supposed to either. So this is for all 12 zodiac signs. Let's start with the advice, okay? Surrender to non-action and surrender to what is. Don't do anything, nothing. Now is the time to be still and not act. Simply breathe and focus on your own power. Let others come to you. Surrender to what is. Flow with what is instead of fighting it. When you can't change a situation, compassionately accepting it exactly as it is will bring you peace. There are a lot of extremes in this relationship, and both of you are literally going through the same thing. And there are some lessons that the two of you need to learn about yourselves, that the relationship was trying to teach you and is trying to teach you. What came out of my Island Time Wellness deck is the Runner, the Chaser, Soulmates, Heartbroken, the Coffin. Endings bring new beginnings, growth, change, liberation, transition. At the bottom of the deck, I do have Twin Flames. You can, if whatever makes you happy. If you like the Twin Flame label, that's fine. If you call it a sacred contract or an important soul contract with that person, it looks like you had one. Yin and Yang, union, duality. You complement each other. You complement each other in some very interesting ways, but there was a runner, there was a chaser. Yes, you had a soul connection and a soul contract with this person. Yes, you broke each other's hearts. I think the relationship's in the coffin, but there's this connection between the two of you. And there were some things that you were meant to learn from one another. The things you were meant to learn from one another, I was like, I've never seen this. I've never seen this. I mean, I've seen it in private readings, but it's never come out in all my 28 years of personal readings. So what this person wants to say to you guys, it was my fault, but I blamed you. I don't react when people mention you, and my life is not as together as it seems. So they blame you for everything, even though they think it was their fault. It might have been both of your faults, but they do blame you. They have nothing to say when you come up, which means you have mutual friends or you live in the same community. There is occasion for them to have a reaction to you, but they don't. And they might look like they've got it together on the outside. It's not that their life is falling apart. Their life just isn't together as you thought it was. You thought they had it all together, but you might have been hanging on to you saw potential in them. They didn't have it together as you thought that they did. In the shadow of their heart, you can't come where I'm going, and I don't need your approval. This person has a chip on their shoulder with you. Something about you makes them feel as though you make them feel like they needed your approval for something. You might have intimidated them in some way, and they don't want you to come where they're going. They might have moved. They might have left. Like if you work together, they've left, or wherever they're going, they think that you can't come with them. This person just wants release. Their card is release, the waning crescent moon, and boundaries. So if they were to come towards you again, they would have to open up a bit, but they would be guarded. They have boundaries with you. They are just trying to release you. I believe this person is trying to release you. Definitely do. What you want to say to them is, I'm starting to understand our connection. I will wait for a sign from you, and I want to tell you how I feel. So you're waiting for some kind of a sign from this person to a degree. And you do still feel as though you have something you want to say to them. But I'm pretty sure you're in separation because of your advice. It's don't do anything. You're not talking to them, or you're not supposed to be doing anything. You're just supposed to be surrendering to what it is and seeing it for what it is. I think you know that, which is why you're just waiting for a sign. You're starting to get the spiritual connection. I doubt this person watches tarot, they might be spiritually tapped in to a degree, but you're the only ones coming here. Like, this is for you. You're in the collective. In the shadow of your heart is, thank you for leaving me. I don't know what to say. You have no idea what to even say to this person anymore. And you're glad that they've left you. This looked really cool. I didn't expect to see this. Protection and abundance. You are protected, and a lot of you are going to move into a time of abundance. It's beautiful. Some of you have a lot of earth in your chart. Very earthy, very grounded, very beautiful. You need to know that you're protected and you're moving into abundance. For some of you guys, the card didn't come out of this deck, but I sure thought it was, because I kept seeing it while shuffling it. I kept seeing the narcissist empath paradigm. I kept seeing the girl with the snake. I kept seeing the golden mirror. For some of you, this person might have been somewhat narcissistic. That doesn't necessarily mean that they meet the criteria for the full-blown personality disorder. I don't diagnose people with psychiatric illnesses through tarot. I just don't. But I think that there was like this codependent, there was a runner-chaser dynamic. That says it all. There was a runner-chaser dynamic. And I think that you've tried to get away. You don't know what to say. You're glad they left. You do still want to tell them something, but at this point, I think maybe a part of you might even be afraid, but you need to know that you're protected from whatever you're fearful of, and you will move into abundance. When? I'm not sure. Maybe soon, maybe 6 months from now, a year from now, okay? In between the two of you, there are so many extremes. Too many extremes. Too many. And the Oracle deck, I just got this deck. I don't know the name of the deck. It's found on Etsy. I'll find the name of it out and I'll tell you guys. I'm sure you've seen other readers use it, but there's too many extremes between the two of you right now for the two of you to talk to each other. Mutual energy. This is what you're both doing. This blew my mind. Detective and stalker. You both keep tabs on each other AF, like you stalk each other, you play detective with each other, probably only online. I don't get the sense that you are driving by each other's houses or where each other works. I don't even get the sense that you talk about or gossip about one another or ask people questions. Neither one of you want the other one to know that you're interested, but you both stalk the shit out of each other and you play detective. Like you've Googled the hell out of them and they have you. You know exactly where each other are online. You know a lot more about each other than you're both letting on. Both of you. That's mutual, the detective and the stalker. I was like, holy crap, they're both doing it. Whoa. Well, that makes sense. This is the part that shows me, well, Lilith came out, and I really feel like the two of you were intentionally meant to challenge some very specific parts of each other. You mirror each other so much. This person, what I have for them is past life, player, and sage. Interesting. So I think in a past life, this person was a player, or in the past, this person was a player. They are moving into sage energy. They are getting older and wiser. Here's their challenge. Their challenge is haughty. So what I see here is a person that has been playing for a long time and was a player. They spun that wheel and they took their risks. They have become wise and sage, but I see a person maybe going through a midlife crisis. And that's something that all of us go through. And you could actually do really positive things when you come to this moment of crisis where you realize, oh my God, my life is half over, or I can actually see my own death one day. Holy shit, I'm not 22 anymore. Some of you are 22. But I'm picking up on an older, wiser person that their challenge is haughty. They like the hot guy. Like if they're a woman, they need to stop acting like this chick and stick with a more mature person, but they fall for the hottie. If it's a man, they're growing out of player ways and becoming really sage and wise, but that's hard to do. It's hard to look in the mirror and see this guy when you remember being that guy. And when you were once so beautiful, as many people know and don't often talk about, beauty is power. It is unfortunate but true, and this person clings to this within themselves. Here's what you're doing. This is where I was like, I'm gonna spit out my coffee. I was like, oh my God, it really is a runner-chaser dynamic. It really is a soul contract. They're mirroring each other to a degree. So you're numb, you're the communicator, and you're a crone. So I have a sage and a crone here. There you are. You're counterparts in many ways. You're probably the same age. Or you're old souls. So at this point, you're numb, and yet the numb communicator, hey, how's it going? I'm hanging on by a thread. You might be a communicator for work. You might have been the talker in the relationship too. You might have talked yourself numb. You are a crone. You are a crone. You are older and wiser. So I see two people moving into either approaching or are already in. Like there's a maiden mother crone phase. That's the feminine labels for it. You're both moving into this wisdom, this crone and this sage energy. You were the communicator. They were the player. They have past life BS going on. You're numb. Here's your challenge. Unreal. Maiden. You have the same challenge. You're not a little girl anymore. Or you know you're supposed to be with a crone, but you cling to those little girls. Little Red Riding Hood and Snow White. Unbelievable. The sage who has a challenge with the haughty syndrome, and the crone who just wants to be Cinderella again. The haughty and the maiden are but moments in our lives. They never leave us. You can recapture the haughty and the maiden and still honor the crone and the sage. I couldn't believe it. Here's how you see each other. It gets better. I can't make this shit up. You see this person as Lilith, addict, the Shadow King. Google the Lilith placement, in particular the Black Moon and Lilith. It's considered a darker part of your natal chart, but it's more about the Lilith placement is who you really are and things that you have to work through and integrate into yourself so that they don't eat you alive. So this person is like Lilith. They tempt you. They pull out your Lilith placement. They may have a strong Lilith placement. You might have the same Lilith placement. This person might have been an addict of some kind, any kind of addiction. You might have been addicted to them or they you. This person struggles with a desire for something that they can't control. Their Lilith shadow side might work overtime. you think this is how you perceive this person. This is your perception of them. You see them as the Shadow King. This is how they see you. The Shadow Queen, fire, and intuitive. Now, when I get Shadow Queen, fire, and intuitive, this person thinks that you are trouble. They think you're trouble. They might think you do black magic. They might think you're a witch. There's nothing wrong with being a witch. I know a few witches. They're fantastic. They think that you are a Shadow Queen. They think you're fiery and inspiring. They think you're highly intuitive. You probably told them that you were an intuitive person. I think that they probably think you're more intuitive, like you're too intuitive for your own good. It's like their interpretation of you. You mirror each other so much. I have the Shadow King and the Shadow Queen here. And I have the Sage and the Crone that still wants to be a hottie and still wants to be a maiden. Now, if this reading doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't resonate with you. And if you don't feel like this is you, then okay. But guess what? When you're a crone that wants to be a little girl again, you're going to attract this guy. That's what you're going to do. He's going to attract you and you're going to attract him. And you're still watching each other a lot. And I don't know how long this has been going on, but there's so many extremes between the two of you. I don't have cards of healing here. You're just now starting to understand the connection. I know it looks like you want to hear from them. It's weird. You want to tell them how you feel, but you don't know what to say. You're waiting for a sign from them, but you're glad they left you. That is definitely extreme. That's definitely extreme. And I think that this person has a lot of pride and ego. You guys trigger each other's shadow sides way too much, like you're playing with fire. Playing with fire, having a difficult time not triggering each other in a positive way. And I think that you both might have hurt each other's self-esteem to a degree, with the hottie and the maiden being the challenge. If you could both just accept that you're a crone and a sage, then you might actually get to talk and not do this. You might have done all the communicating for this person. Just don't do anything right now. You have to surrender to what is, because there is no really great cure for the runner and chaser dynamic. The chaser has to stop chasing and the runner has to stop running. You do complement each other. Clearly, Shadow King and Shadow Queen. Clearly you complement each other, my sage and my crone. And I think your intuition was right about that. Just let the ending end so new things can come into your life. There was a deep hurt here. Deeply hurt, sad, separation, breakup, feeling lost, grieving, and mourning. If you're wondering why it hurts so bad, the universe, it's not the universe. Soulmates and soul contract, that's a soul contract. Your souls made a contract. Your souls made a contract to activate the Shadow King and Shadow Queen within you. Your souls made a contract to help each other discover your Lilith placement and to work with it and to understand it and to face addiction and to learn how to appropriately use intuition. And you're both going through a change from like that maiden mother crone. So just don't do anything right now. There's too many extremes in this relationship. It was definitely a soul contract. Just try to figure out, what it is. Like, you can't do this person's work for them, but you can definitely work through this stuff. You guys need to work through the numbness, Get in touch with your shadow queen, not ignore her or pretend she doesn't exist, because she does exist. And work through this crone maiden energy. Recapture the maiden within you in a healthy, eternal way. There are ways we can do this. Many healthy ways we can do this. But you also need to accept that you're a crone. And don't let this person make you feel... you know what I think happened? I think that this person was arrogant and insisted that he was a hottie, even though he's not the hot guy at the end of the bar anymore. And it made you feel bad about being in crone phase and made you feel like you had to be a maiden again. And I don't think you want to feel that way again. So just don't do anything right now. There's too much going on here, but this has been a pretty intense runner chaser soul contract that was meant to bring all of these things to attention. It's definitely, I'm definitely going to title this a Black Moon Lilith reading. I was shocked by this. Never seen this. So if this resonates with you, this is definitely what's going on in a romantic way. It could be familial or a friend as well, but it looks like it's a pretty important relationship. Just know that you're protected and you are moving into a time of abundance, but that could be all messed up if you do the runner chaser thing again with this person. I think that your contract of contact with one another should be over for now, but the contract in the 5th dimension or your 5D energy is still working. You're still working with each other. You probably don't know that this person is going through this right now themselves. They're going through it too, just like you are. You might have been formed in the universe at the same time, which is like that whole twin flame theory. It's just a theory. It's possible, but just know that you're going through the same thing. Just don't talk to each other right now. It's too extreme, but that's what's going on. That's the oracle reading I have for you guys from these decks about this relationship. I hope that if it resonates with you, it helps you, and it helps you understand on a deeper level what this relationship was meant to teach you. This blew my mind. I thought it was fascinating. Yeah. All right, you guys, I'm always listening to the universe for you. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next time.